Oh, this is the stuff of nightmares, no joke. One of my biggest fears about theme parks is the ride malfunctioning because it can and does happen. It recently just happened at a park in Oregon and I can't even imagine. 28 people were trapped on a ride at Oaks Amusement Park in southeast Portland, Oregon, on the park's first day open for the summer season. According to officials on the scene, the ride passengers were stuck upside down for nearly 30 freaking minutes. Oh my gosh. The ride was called the Atmos. There was definitely some fear on that ride that day. The passengers were lowered to safety of a height of around 50 feet at about 3:30 p.m. that day, but they were stuck for 25 minutes before they were lowered back down to safety. Oh my gosh. The ride had to be lowered manually, and immediately after the passengers were safe and down, they were evacuated and medically evaluated. No injuries were luckily reported, thankfully, but one person who was on the ride who had pre-existing conditions did have to be taken to a hospital just for extreme caution to make sure they were okay. They just wanted further evaluation just to be sure. The cause of the ride's malfunction and stop still remains unclear, and the ride is said to be closed until further notice. One rider said that after getting down from being upside down for so long that his bladder was in so much pain. He said he was trying not to throw up and that his legs were also killing him and that the whole thing was just crazy. Some teenagers that were on the ride said that being upside down like that for so long really made them think about life. I can bet so. That people were praying to God, screaming for their life, throwing up, passing out. So it was just really bad. People on the ground watching the passengers were said to be praying. Luckily, the Portland Fire and Rescue was familiar with this ride, and reportedly their high and go rope rescue team had specifically drilled and practiced as recently as last year for a situation like this on this very ride and how to rescue people if something like this happened, if people got stuck upside down. So props to them for being prepared. They sound like a great department. The medical evaluations of those who were stuck upside down showed all vital signs afterwards as being normal, and no medical assistance was needed except for that one being taken to the hospital just out of caution. I mean, just look at their faces. This is wild. It was stated in a statement by the park that their staff immediately initiated emergency response procedures and called 911. And within minutes of first responders arriving, the riders were safe to the unloading position. And the medics were there ready to assess and look at the health and wellness of all the riders. Reportedly, this ride, called the Atmosphere, like I said, replaced a ride called the Screaming Eagle at Oaks Park in 2020. The ride has been in operation since 2021, had been operating with no incident prior to this one, or no malfunctions. The park said they are now working with the manufacturer of the ride and will work with them and both state inspectors to determine what happened, why it just stopped like that. The park also said that any guests who had their visit cut short that day at the park will be given a refund or an opportunity to reschedule their visit. The park was closed for the rest of the day, and as I previously said, that ride is closed until further notice. This is just super scary, and I'm so thankful to hear that all the riders on this are safe and well. I can't even imagine this happening. Have y'all ever experienced something like this, a ride malfunction at a park? If so, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to give me a follow.